not knowing what deadbolt you have is not necessarily a problem that we can't counteract, because deadbolts, you know, they really are all extremely similar. You're saying that you're looking for a close-up of how the tailpiece interacts with the keyed part as well as the bolt section. I have an intermittent problem where the key either won't turn or turns very hard. Graphite has helped, but I suspect that's... Okay, well, if lubricating the face of the plug, or lubricating the cylinder itself has helped, it tells me that it's just most likely that the problem is in the cylinder, and that the cylinder needs to be disassembled and repinned with new parts, maybe a new key cut. There's worn parts most likely. However, it could also be a worn tailpiece. If this tailpiece does not rotate laser beam straight, the key's not going to turn really well, because you're fighting this tailpiece that likely has a worn component on the inside of it. Now what I'll do is I'll remove this. I'll disassemble this, I should say, and show you what the construction looks like. These the reason that deadbolt tailpieces work the way they do is because they're what's called lazy action. That's literally the technical term, lazy action. This is an instance where being lazy is good. Okay, so I have the threaded cap and the tailpiece removed. What happens is, this is what the rest of the assembly looks like. You've got a tailpiece, that threaded cap that's there, and then you've got this C washer. That C washer just sits on top of here. And the function of the C washer is to force the tailpiece from not coming out of the threaded cap. So the C washer is there just to keep this from falling out. So what happens is this. You'll notice that there's this weird pie cut situation on the bottom of the tailpiece, whereas a standard key and knob or key and lever tailpiece does not look like that. I happen to have a cylinder here. The bottom of one of those tailpieces look like this. They don't have that same substantial amount of material that's been removed like you do on the deadbolt, which is here. Okay? The reason for that key and knob lever tailpiece to be mostly round is every time you put the key in your knob or your lever, when you turn the key, it's to retract the latch bolt, to pull the latch bolt back in. Every time you pull the latch bolt back in, you take your key and pull it out. What happens to the latch bolt? It goes to where it's supposed to be in the standard state. That means there's a direct relationship between turning the key and rotating the latch bolt. But as the entire premise of where this video starts is, that's not what you want when you have a deadbolt. You need to have lazy action. And the lazy action is the fact that much more of this is cut away, such that when you put the key in and turn it, you can rotate the tailpiece, but when I turn the key back, because so much of that's been cut away, I can rotate the key back and pull it out without drawing that back. Okay? And, you know, when that's happening to you, it's the timing of this, as we've discussed. So what happens is the base of the tailpiece, customers have walked in and said, I need a new tailpiece. Why? Yeah, look at it, it's all worn. And that's the symptoms of that is the fact that the key doesn't work really well. The key works the cylinder, but you can tell there's something behind it that's grinding, that's not working right. You pull it harder and it kind of will work. And it's likely a replacement of the tailpiece that you'll need to look into. It could be that the type of cylinder that you have, the type of deadbolt you have, doesn't have any replacement parts. It could be that you have to replace the entire deadbolt. And I'm just going to put this back together. So it could be that you need to replace the entire deadbolt because of the lack of replacement parts for that deadbolt that you have. If you happen to have this Schlage B60 that's here, which would only be sheer coincidence, you can certainly order from us a replacement tailpiece. There'd be no problem with that. Most heavy-duty residential or standard-duty commercial locks manufactured from domestic companies, meaning you don't have an imported deadbolt, there's probably a parts drawing that's available to the point where you can order just the replacement part. But that's likely what it is. If you're getting a grinding, it's the fact that the inside of this tailpiece is chewed up, eaten up, worn away, bent, damaged, vandalized, needs replacement, whatever the case is. That's where I would look next. Almost all problems with cylinders are inside the cylinder plug. Have a locksmith take it apart, mail it to us. We can do that work as well. Put it back together. It's as good as new. Or replace parts. You know, you either, it'll be obvious to you that when you disassemble this, should you investigate disassembling it, which I'm not saying you should, because sometimes parts will fly off and you'll say, I have no idea how to put that back together. And then you're stuck going to a locksmith or buying a new deadbolt outright. But determining the root of the cause obviously is what you want to do for two reasons. It could get to a point where you can't get out. You're going to want to get out if you need to get out. Emergency egress, you want to be able to get out in an emergency, and you want to leave the house to go to work and be able to lock your door with the deadbolt. You could have a passage set below your deadbolt, and the deadbolt is the means of security on the door, so you want it to work correctly. So it should be low-hanging fruit. If you want to send over some photographs of the deadbolt you have, I might be able to illustrate even further. Thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.